Okay, so in this short tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to the 600 series smartboard. You can always tell which smartboard you have by taking a close look at your pen tray. On the 600 series board, there are 4 different colored pens, an eraser in the center, and then just underneath or in front of the eraser, there are 2 large buttons. So let's talk about what all of these things will do. First off, none of the pens actually contain any ink of any kind. And there isn't actually anything in this pen that makes it a pen. What makes it a pen is actually something that's built into the pen tray here. So in each of the wells in the pen tray, there is a sensor. And when you pick up the pen, you turn on that sensor. And you can see here that the light has come on where the black pen is. And that means that my board is now in black ink mode. So if I touch the screen, it makes a line of black ink. If I pick up a second pen without putting the first one down, the pen tray remembers the last item that was picked up, so I am now in red pen mode, regardless of which pen I actually touch the screen with. Both of them will be treated as a red pen. Same thing with the eraser. If I lift the eraser, it turns on the sensor. So at this point, no matter what I use to touch the screen, it's going to be treated like an eraser until or unless I cover up that sensor there. Underneath are the 2 buttons on the board there. Starting with the button on the left, we see a picture on the button that looks like a keyboard. And when you press this button, you get what Smart calls their on-screen keyboard. When the on-screen keyboard is up, you can simply click on each of the keys just the way you would with the keyboard at the computer, and you are typing on the screen. The button on the right here underneath the eraser shows an image of your desktop mouse. The right mouse button is shaded in, and when you press this button, you get a message in the bottom right of your screen that says the next time you touch the screen, it's going to be a right mouse click. And the next time you touch the screen, you see the same drop-down menu that you would see if you were to click the right button on your mouse screen. So let's talk a little bit about how the board itself functions. So what is a smartboard? Basically, a smartboard is a giant mouse pad hanging on the wall. When you are working at the board, you are acting as the mouse. So every touch of the screen is the same thing as a click on your mouse. There are actually several components that connect together to make a smartboard work. The board itself here, but then it also connects to a projector. And depending on the setup in your classroom, you might have a projector that's on an arm directly above the board. You might have a ceiling mounted projector, or you might have one on a desktop or table in the center of your room. So the projector and the board both connect to your desktop or laptop computer as well. And then all 3 of these will communicate with each other in order to make this board function as a mouse, as we said a moment ago. This 600 series board has a couple of different components to it. This white screen that you're looking at here is basically a plastic sheet. It's very thin and very flexible. And then behind it is a solid surface to the board. And in between this plastic sheet and this solid surface is a pocket of air. And the way that the board works is that you actually have to press this plastic sheet into that hard back in order to communicate with the board. So what we like to say for this board is you always want to touch with intent. If you come up to the board and you give it a very, very gentle touch, nothing will happen unless you press that plastic sheet into the firm back, and that way you're actually completing the circuit and communicating with the board. Lastly, let's talk about some of the hardware that you'll need to get to know on your board. Over here on the right-hand side of the frame, down towards the bottom, you have what Smart calls your ready light. If the light is solid green, that means that the board is on and ready to go and in communication with the computer. There is no on or off switch anywhere on the board. If the board is connected to the computer and the computer is on, the board is also on, and that light should be solid green. If the light is flashing green or orange or red, you need to check your connection and you need to make sure that your computer is on. We talked about the buttons in the center here to launch the on-screen keyboard and the right mouse click, but those buttons actually have one additional function. If you press both of those buttons at the same time, it will bring up a screen that allows you to orient your board, or what a lot of our teachers call calibrating the board. So if I press both of those, My screen goes gray, and in the upper left-hand corner I have a target. And the way that I orient the board is just to tap in the middle of that target and follow it as it moves from top to bottom and left to right. This ensures that every time that I touch the board, it registers my touch accurately and I select on the item that I intend to select on. We talked about the pens and how they function. We talked about the eraser and the fact that even if I pick up a pen, once that light is on, it doesn't matter what I touch the board with, it will be treated as a pen. So this is a quick overview of the 600 series board so that you understand the hardware and you're ready to get started with the software.